Welcome to Spectrum News at 10, coming to you live from Oyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. Let's take a look at the top stories. President Bola Tinubu returns to Abuja, ends vacation. Governor Omoyena launches Akwa Ibom Security Trust Fund to boost tourism, investment and safety. Plus, Trump to meet King in Windsor Castle on first day of state visit. Stay tuned for details of this story and more in just a moment. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Our first news this morning is that President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja from his work vacation. Recall that the president had departed for France on September 4, 2025 to spend part of his annual holiday and was initially scheduled to divide the period between France and the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, in a statement, noted that the president has concluded his work vacation ahead of schedule and returned to Abuja to resume official duties. The statement further noted that the president had held a private luncheon with his French counterpart, President Emmanuel Macron, to review key areas of cooperation between Nigeria and France and agreed to deepen the partnership for mutual prosperity and global stability. Away from that, federal government has said that it has positioned itself at the forefront of Africa's energy debate, pushing for regional cooperation to end the continent's dependence on fuel imports worth over $120 billion annually. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Henneken Lokbobiri, during the Africa Oil Week 2025 Ministerial and CEO Leadership Forum in Ghana, declared that integration remained Africa's best hope of achieving energy security. In a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Communication to the Minister, Nnaemeka Okafor, Lokbobiri stressed that shared infrastructure, harmonized standards, and technical expertise will enable the continent to secure its energy future. Lokbobiri disclosed that Nigeria was spearheading the creation of a West African reference market, an initiative to leverage the country's growing refining capacity to supply petroleum products across West Africa and beyond. He further dismissed claims that the Paris Agreement mandated Africa to abandon its oil and gas resources, arguing instead for responsible exploitation. Meanwhile, in a bid to step up efforts to curb the menace of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, by non-state actors, the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, has begun specialized training for first responders and explosive ordnance disposal, EOD personnel. Speaking of the training, the NCTC boss, Major General Garaba Laka, stated that the training is aimed at building the capacity of bomb technicians, security agencies, and emergency responders to detect, defuse, and respond swiftly to IED threats across the country. Laka underscored the role of technology in amplifying Nigeria's counter-IED capacity, stressing that constant innovation is needed to stay ahead of evolving terrorist tactics. In the meantime, the federal government has reeled out a slew of new incentives to attract agricultural investment, which it said could create 21 million jobs in the country. It also pledged reforms to expand irrigation, improve access to credit, and create millions of rural jobs under President Bola Tinubu's economic agenda. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, outlined the plans at the Food and Agriculture Organization's National and Sub-Regional Hand-in-Hand Investment Forum in Abuja, calling hunger the great equalizer that reviews Nigeria's vulnerabilities and the shared fragility of the country's existence. The Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, reviewed details of the meeting in a statement titled "More Incentives Farmers" as federal government unveils new agri investment incentives. Shettima said Nigeria had the capacity to irrigate more than 3 million hectares of farmland, but currently uses less than 10% of that potential. We move over to the legislature now, where the National Assembly Service Commission (NASE) has approved the appointment of Emmanuel Odo as the acting clerk to the Senate. The commission approved the appointment during the commission's 10th meeting. A statement signed by the executive chairman of the commission, Xavier Enyekere, stated that Odo's appointment is in recognition of his hard work and administrative competence, urging him to work hard to uphold the confidence the commission reposed on him. Recall that prior to the appointment, Emmanuel Odo was the deputy clerk of the Senate administration. Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoeno has launched the State Security Trust Fund, focusing on enhancing security and infrastructure to attract tourists and investors as part of efforts to transform the state into a thriving tourism hub. At the official launch of the initiative with the theme "Partnership for a Safer Akwa Ibom" held at the Banquet Hall, Government House, Uyo, the governor noted that security was very critical in the promotion of tourism as well as the general development of any society. The governor noted that security remains everyone's business, hence the need to launch the trust fund, which seeks to promote a public-private partnership for efficient policing of the state. He said though Akwa Ibom remains one of the most peaceful and safest states in Nigeria, it was necessary to put machineries in place to maintain the status quo and called on private sector to rise to the occasion and support in this regard. The governor attributed the peace and security in the state to the efforts of past leaders for their single-minded devotion, which foundation he said his administration was building on. Governor appreciated security chiefs for taking part in the event and also appreciated the chairman of the Akwa Ibom State Security Trust Fund, Paul Osoro SAN, the Speaker and members of the State House of Assembly for passage of the Trust Fund Bill, which has been assented to law. Earlier, chairman on the occasion, Usman B. Alkali, had commended Governor Omoeno for passionately following through his vision as contained in the Arise agenda and described him as a rare breed among his colleagues. In his tone setting, the chairman of Trust Fund, Usoro SAN, said the fund was set up as a public-private partnership arrangement to handle security. Usara, who noted that security is capital intensive, called on everyone to show commitment and also expressed the commitment of members of the committee in partnership with relevant stakeholders to successfully drive the initiative. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, PhD, who was represented by the State Commissioner of Police, CP Baba Azare, said the initiative was a pointer to the fact that Akwa Ibom State was proactive in security management, adding that security is not an expense but an investment, and pledged his commitment and support to make the state a shining example of a peaceful state in Nigeria. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports that on his part, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Waterways, retired General Koko Essien, said the state security management team was excited by the launch of the fund and stressed that Akwa Ibom has the longest coastline in Nigeria and deserves a great deal of security efforts, as demonstrated by Governor No, to maintain peace and security. Meanwhile, in a bid to sustain peace and security in Akwa Ibom State, Governor Moino has pledged his administration's continuous commitment to a strong working relationship with the judiciary. The governor gave the assurance while speaking at a special interdenominational church service at the Believers' Assembly to mark the opening of the 2025-2026 legal year. He commended the State Chief Judge, Justice Ekaete Obot, for the warm and robust collaboration between the executive and judicial arms of government, which, according to him, has been fruitful and productive. He acknowledged the efforts of the judiciary to maintain peace and ensure orderliness in the society, and assured that the executive arm will continue to ensure a conducive environment for everyone to deliver on their responsibilities. The governor warned against attempts by any individual or a group to stifle the peace in the state, stressing that where there is perceived injustice, parties involved should approach the courts and allow it to address such issues without engaging in subjudicial acts. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reported that the governor emphasized that all applicants would go through the state employment portal. He congratulated the judiciary on the opening of a new legal year and prayed for collaboration to enable the state maintain its peaceful status. Now to Africa, where vote counting has begun following the closure of polling stations in Malawi's crucial presidential election. Current President Lazarus Chakwera is seeking a second term, running against former President Peter Mutharika, with both candidates focusing on revitalizing the economy. Reports say approximately 3.7 million votes were cast, despite some delays at polling stations due to issues with fingerprint readers. The Malawi Electoral Commission has until September 24 to announce the presidential results, with parliamentary outcomes expected by September 30. We move over to the foreign scene, where U.S. President Donald Trump is set to meet King Charles in Windsor Castle as part of his first full day in an unprecedented second state visit. Trump and First Lady Melania Trump arrived in London yesterday. The U.S. President, who described the visit as an honor, said the main purpose of the visit was to see King Charles, who has represented the country so well. Still on the foreign scene, the suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, is reportedly facing 7 charges, including aggravated murder and witness tampering. According to report, Utah attorney Jeff Gray has said that he will seek the death penalty after evidence reveals that Robinson left a note under a keyboard for his roommate, stating that he had the opportunity to take Kirk out. Meanwhile, Robinson will make his first appearance in a Utah court soon. Still to come in the news. Kylian Mbappe's double fires 10-man Real Madrid to victory over Marseille. Stay tuned for details of these and more in a jiffy. We have it on the screen. Why am I not seeing it on the screen? Glad to have you back. Now we conclude the rest of our news stories. On our business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has reiterated its determination to boost productivity, strengthen financial inclusion, and deliver on its core mandate of monetary and price stability. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso met this noon at the opening ceremony of the CBN Fair held in Kano. Cardoso, who was represented by the Acting Director, Corporate Communications Department, Hakama Ali, noted that the reforms introduced by the Apex Bank under his leadership have already started producing tangible results, including higher inflows of foreign investment, improved trade balances, and significant progress in financial inclusion. Highlighting some of the measures taken in the past 2 years, the governor said the bank had implemented exchange rate unification to minimize arbitrage opportunities and reduce volatility in the foreign exchange market. He added that the CBN had successfully cleared over $7 billion in verified backlog of foreign exchange forwards, a move that has boosted investor confidence. Well, talking health now, the federal government is exploring the introduction of a digitalized inventory consignment model to improve access to essential medicines in federal tertiary hospitals. It has emerged. Speaking at a stakeholders' engagement on digital procurement of essential medicine for hospitals across the country in Abuja, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Daju Kacholum, said the initiative aligns with the National Strategy for Supply Chain Management. According to her, the pilot project has already begun to test and fine-tune the model before its rollout across federal tertiary health institutions. The Permanent Secretary tasked the stakeholders with identifying gaps in the medicine supply chain, strengthening service delivery, introducing the new model in tertiary hospitals, and building frameworks for collaborative to ensure nationwide access. Still in health, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring Nigerians have access to quality healthcare services, stressing that its resolve to standardize and strengthen care across federal tertiary hospitals remains firm. Underscoring this commitment, the government, through the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, entered into a collaboration with pharmacies, formalized the process in a Memorandum of Understanding MOU signed in Abuja. The partnership will drive the rollout of the Safe Care Quality Improvement Program, aimed at elevating healthcare delivery, enhancing workforce capacity, and transforming teaching hospitals into centers of excellence. The initiative will be implemented through the National Tertiary Health Institution Standards Committee, a body mandated to set and enforce minimum standards for tertiary health care. The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Adekunle Salako, while underscoring the centrality of quality health care reform, said the federal government was determined to ensure that tertiary hospitals go beyond infrastructure to deliver care that meets global standards of safety, efficiency, and patient-centeredness. We move over to sport, where Kylian Mbappe scored twice from the penalty spot as a 10-man Real Madrid battled to a 2-1 victory over Marseille in the Champions League opener. Timothy Weah gave Marseille the lead in the 22nd minute, but Mbappe equalized just 6 minutes later after Rodrigo was fouled in the box. Madrid went down to 10 men when Dani Carvajal was sent off. However, Mbappe struck again late on after a handball by Facundo Medina. Meanwhile, Madrid will travel to Kazakhstan to face Kairat on September 30 and Marseille host Ajax. Still in sports, Super Eagles defender Ola Aina has undergone a successful surgery. Aina sustained a hamstring injury in Nigeria's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Bafana Bafana of South Africa last week. The 28-year-old is now expected to be sidelined for around 3 months. The versatile fullback will hope to return to action in time for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, which will be hosted by Morocco in December. On our entertainment news, U.S. actor Robert Redford has died at the age of 89. In a statement, his publicist Cindy Badger stated that he passed away on September 16 at his home in the mountains of Utah. Recall that before his death, the Oscar-winning actor had announced his retirement from performing in 2018, having said in 2016 that he was tired, I beg your pardon, of acting. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on all our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 10. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Good morning.